previously lukewarm about independence, into the revolutionary camp. Jefferson thought instantly of his family. If Dunmore succeeded in inspiring an army of slaves and indentured servants, then Monticello might not be safe. Jefferson made plans for Patty and his family to escape in the event of violence, plans that included his joining them in presumably safe territory. "I have written to Patty a proposition to keep yourselves at a distance from the alarms of Lord Dunmore," he wrote to the brother-in-law in November. As Jefferson crafted emergency measures for his family, word of Dunmore's strike swept up and down the eastern coast. In late November, John Page was both defiant and pleading, "For God's sake, endeavor to procure us arms and ammunition," Page wrote Jefferson from Virginia. Page feared the British, and he feared an insurrection of the Negroes. There was something else, too, the sense that the property of Virginia's elites would fall into the hands of the British. "Some rascals, all foreigners, are already looking out for places and handsome seats," Virginia statesman Robert Carter Nicholas wrote Jefferson in late 1775. "No country ever required greater exertions of wisdom than ours does at present," Nicholas wrote Jefferson on November 25, 1775. "I fear no time is to be lost." As the session of the Congress drew to a close, Jefferson was named to a committee to ascertain unfinished business before Congress. He found 27 separate matters that required attention, from reports on currency and Indian affairs to the making of salt. A second Jefferson task, service on a panel charged with planning the powers of a proposed committee to govern during the congressional recess. It was an instructive exercise, for it required Jefferson to analyze the role the Congress had been playing and discern which functions were essential. In a draft dated December 15, 1775, he listed 19 duties